The Original Sin, a story that starts like a Saturday morning cartoon and spirals into a bleak look at everyday reality. Today, we're unpacking how Takopii no Genzai uses its sugary cartoon aesthetic to deliver harsh social commentary, and dissecting why the innocence as a weapon theme can often hit harder than most realistic dramas. So, what is the story really about? On the surface, it looks like a quirky sci-fi story. A cute alien, a cheerful gadget, and a mission to spread happiness. But that bubble pops faster than Takopi can say, "Happy camera." The kids in this story aren't just kids. They're stand-ins for the cruelty of the adult world. They're victims, yes, but they're also perpetrators. A child can be abused at home and still turn around and bully someone at school. And the bullied kid can themselves coldly manipulate others for their own good. That duality, victim and villain, innocent and cruel, runs through the entire narrative. And the source of all this can be easily traced. They're mimicking the adults. Parents neglect, abuse or manipulate, and children copy what they see. It's a harsh mirror of systemic cycles of abuse. Takopi's role in all of this is fascinating. He shows us that innocence and cruelty aren't opposites. Sometimes they're two sides of the same happy planet coin. And the story makes a point that no gadget, no quick fix, no alien smile can patch up something that's fundamentally broken. One of the most striking things about Takopi's Original Sin is its art. The designs are soft, round, almost plush toy-like. The tone, on the other hand, quite brutal. This clash isn't just aesthetic, it's deliberate. We're used to assuming a cute face equals a safe story. We have an adorably designed mascot character, Takopi with his big eyes and chipper expressions, dropped into a story of abuse, violence, and death. Other series have weaponized this too. Madoka Magica lured audience in with pink ribbons and frilly skirts before crushing them with existential despair. Made in Abyss gave us adorable characters with giant eyes, and then subjected them to some of the most disturbing body horror I've seen in anime. The visual juxtaposition of Takopi's bubbly, toy-like appearance with scenes of intense despair and cruelty is jarring by design. It serves to make the dark moments even more shocking, and also to symbolize the theme of lost innocence. We are, to a point, desensitized to cruelty and abuse involving adult human characters. But for now, childhood innocence is a myth that we still like to protect. The trick works because it shows us how deceptive appearances and expectations can be, and how much we take them for granted. Takopi himself is a deconstruction of the magical helper archetype. Think Doraemon, but every gadget makes things worse. Normally, this archetype exists to give kids wish fulfillment. Problems solved instantly, often without consequences. But Takopi reminds us that some wishes have very dark ripple effects, and some children might wish for something other than unlimited ice cream or a pet pony, something a bit more dark. This contrast generates much of the manga's social critique. Takopi's futile efforts to spread happiness with magical technology come off as almost satirical in the face of problems like poverty, abuse, and stigma. Fairy tales actually knew this long before anime or manga did. The Brothers Grimm were full of magical solutions that came with a catch: curses, sacrifices, or worse. It was Disney who polished them into the cheerful, happily ever after versions we all know. The Little Mermaid's original story was not one of happy endings. And in that same vein, when Takopi's gadgets fail, or worse, backfire, it's not just tragedy for tragedy's sake. It's a reminder that nothing comes free, and that even magic has a cost. It's a pointed commentary on the limits of feel-good fixes. Complex societal issues like child neglect or bullying require understanding and systemic change, not just handy tools or platitudes. And before going any further, let me just pause for a moment to remind anyone still watching that the like and subscribe button are right there, itching to be clicked. If you'd like. Anyway, moving on. In theory, Takopi should be the most childlike character in the story. He doesn't understand morality, he wants to help, he believes smiles fix everything. But in reality, his innocence is in stark contrast to that of the actual children. and that contrast is brutal. The human kids are already corrupted, they've absorbed cruelty from their environment. Takopi, meanwhile, has no idea how deep the darkness goes. He floats through a grim environment with cheerful obliviousness. At one point, he theorizes that the fight, read bullying, between two characters was caused by one of them eating the other's custard pudding, something that can be solved by talking it out. He represents what we'd actually want our children to be, naive to the darker elements of the world. But, as the story unfolds, some of that innocence gets stripped away, symbolizing how ideals don't survive contact with reality. Other works play with this too. Naruto's Shadow Star is an older manga that twisted the child-befriending whimsical creature trope into extremely dark subject matters including bullying, child-on-child violence, and even terrorism, exposing the darkest impulses of human, and in this case adolescent, nature. In classical literature, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein showed how being born innocent, without guidance, can turn to rage and destruction. And Takopi sits right in that lineage, innocence clashing with cruelty until innocence itself corrodes. And that brings us to Takopi as an archetype, the innocent fool. He has no concept of human morality. Murder, death, betrayal, none of it makes sense to him. His intentions are pure, but purity without understanding is dangerous. We've seen this figure throughout history. In one of the oldest mythological tales known to us, the Epic of Gilgamesh, Enkidu was a wild man of nature, created by the gods, living beyond human laws, until he learned them through human trials. Later on, fairies in medieval folklore often embodied alien innocence. They weren't malicious, but they lived by their own morality, which could be deadly to humans. Even Peter Pan, the eternal boy, has moments where his innocence slides into cruelty, because he doesn't understand consequences the way adults do. And this is why Takopi matters. Characters who exist outside our moral system show us its limits. They're like Adam and Eve before eating the apple, beings without the knowledge of good and evil. Fitting, then, that the story is called Original Sin. Because once Takopi starts to grasp what human morality really means, there's no going back. Takopi's Original Sin isn't just tragedy, porn, or shock value. It's a thoughtful deconstruction of innocence, morality, and the way abuse cycles through generations. It uses archetypes as old as mythology, dresses them in the deceptively cute art style of modern manga, and then rips off the band-aid to show us what lies underneath. And maybe that's the real message. Innocence is fragile, cruelty is contagious, and no gadget from the happy planet can fix what we refuse to face ourselves.